Let's put this one here. This one. Would you like a drink?
Your drinks fit in there too?
Arizona or CC lemon?
Oh,
or is it
man.
start your day?
No, yeah, I think this.
Okay.
Because I don't know how my stomach will do on
some acid.
Yeah, I've been having some stomach issues.
Okay. So, I am here with Von Burrell.
Yes, sir.
Am I saying your name right? Burrell?
Well, Burrell is just like the easier way, but it's actually like Burrell, like
Burrell?
You know, like the Guam Visitors Bureau.
Burrell?
Yeah, so it's kind of the same. You have to stress the R and stress the L's because there's 2 R's and there's 2 L's.
Burrell.
It's kind of like Snoop Dogg because it's double
Burrell?
G.
Von Burrell?
Yeah, Burrell.
Okay.
But
yeah, and I know you more as a drifter. That's how I met you. That's how I kind of got to know you as a race car driver.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at Nissan mechanic, the only person I want to touch my car, but you know, other guys can touch it if like you're not available. But
yeah.
So, I guess we could get started on like we'll get started with that point, and then we can go into other things. So,
yeah.
When did you? I guess would you say you first got into drifting or car scene in general?
Car scenes, I would say my dad. My dad was, you know, they were stationed in Japan. He had an S12 also.
Nice.
So that was the thing. He would show me like pictures like, oh yeah, we used to go to the mountains and we see these local Japanese driving and stuff. And, you know, there was, they called it drifting. And I was like, oh, really? That's cool. And then as I got older, he brought up like different stories about it. And he showed me a picture of his S12. And then him and like 3 other friends that when they were stationed there, that they had all that kind of stuff.
That's pretty cool.
And, you know, from there, it was just like, oh, okay, cool. I want to see what this car is. And when I got an S12, no one even knew what the hell that was. They were just like, oh, what is this? This is a Hachi? This is a 86 Corolla? Oh, you know, so it's like during that time of Initial D. So, of course, everyone is like looking into that kind of thing.
I gotta admit, though, I've never watched Initial D.
What?
That's something that I need to get into, but I need to make sure I look into what's the right one.
Just watch the whole series. Watch the stage 1 all the way through. And they have some newer ones. I mean, you can watch
a new
those.
one came out, right, with like the more modern cars?
Yeah, but yeah, with the GT86 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those are okay. It's cool. It just it's kind of like Dragon Ball, you know, when like the whole beginning Dragon Ball, and then when you get to like GT, and then now you have like Dragon Ball GT.
Are they all connected?
or something. They're connected. They're all still they all try to link it up. But when you start having people that do the original voice die, so it's like it doesn't feel anymore. So the morale of it kind of just goes down.
I see.
And then like the story, they still try to link it up. It just doesn't fit so well in a way. I don't know. I guess it's.
Do they try to do their own story?
No, they kind of like make it drift off from the original, and then you're kind of like, dude, these guys just never aged.
Yeah.
You know, but some of them you do see them age. Of course, with Dragon Ball, it's just cool that you can see watching it from like when Goku was a baby, and then see when he was like a mid teenager. But his teenager to his like actual older age is like crazy because you can't even tell that he was like, oh, at this part of Dragon Ball, he was actually 17.
Yeah.
And this part of Dragon, you're like, dude, he looks exactly the same thing. But other than that,
just those buff, muscular teenagers.
Yeah,
you know, that's how they are.
It's cool though. I mean, like I don't know.
Well, back in the day, I mean, like when you see old American videos of teenagers, like these guys were built. They were built for war.
Yeah,
but then everyone got kind of, you know, it's they got comfortable. So.
Yeah. So other than that, like I think if it's like your first time, like watching any series nowadays, it becomes new to you. So you kind of just like, oh, this is cool. It has a continuation of like 1,000 video episodes and yada yada yada.
Right.
So you kind of just keep watching it.
Yeah. By the way, for people listening, this is an anime we're talking about.
Yeah, anime we're talking about. So like Dragon Ball and stuff. Oh, this guy's I like the wheels.
Yeah, those are clean.
Sounds familiar.
Sharp.
looks familiar. Is that your wheel bearing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So when we went and got it serviced, I don't think you were here. I think Journey was the one that checked it out.
I think it was like,
He said the brakes are seized. It wasn't sounding like that before. It was more like the typical whining sound, screeching. So, like, I assume that's just the brake caliper being held. I think at this point now, it's the actual brake, like, onto the
pad.
I think at first it was a pad, but now I think it's the caliper. Like, I think it's actually past the pad and it's just holding onto the caliper.
It's metal to metal right now.
That's what it sounds like, right?
It sounds like pad to the rotor already. I mean, then again, do you see the rotor looking all chowed up, or?
I have not
looked at it.
I have not looked at it past like what Journey sent me. He told me like brake pads are all fine and stuff, but then it's just seized. So I think at this point it's getting pretty bad.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Yeah. So after this, I'm trying to just leave it sit and then order the parts right away because I have all the part numbers and everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is like it's a Nissan, so they all follow within the 90s of its year. So
yeah, and then Infinity as well. I got the Infinity version of those coded.
This would be like probably like an i30, but this is still rear wheel drive. So right, yeah, it's a SEMA.
SEMA's a Q45.
Yeah. So, yeah. This is Q45 rear wheel drive.
So things are. I have all the prices. I have it all. I just need to pull the trigger on the purchasing. So soon, 2025, this thing will be completely set. And then if I want to sell it, put it up for like 10 grand. Yeah. Be like, if someone buys it for 10K, I'll be happy. But if no one buys it, I'm fine driving this because I still like this car.
It's the JDM tax, like how everything goes up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of. I mean, in a certain way, I kind of have like a love-hate for it because it kind of increases like even the U.S. market of certain things. It just helps out in a certain way of selling things.
And also, it's harder for the new kids to get into cars that they love. It's like it's even more of a price.
Yeah.
Price limitation for them.
Yeah, but yeah, I know I kind of got off of the whole how I started, but yeah, my dad was into it. I mean, he got his first cars shoe shining. From like the racial period of time. I mean, my dad's like 74 right now, but you know, in his childhood, he came across some rich white guy, American guy, and it was like, "Hey, boy, if you shine my shoes and blah blah blah, all these business people's shoes in time, I need this in like the next hour or so or something like that. I'll give you these cars," because I guess maybe the guy was going through something, and he was already probably going through some bankruptcy.
All right.
So I think it was like his make or break thing to get like these shoes shined. From what my dad was saying, is like to get his shoes shined
in that zen moment, like release some stress, like.
Yeah. So if he got like these shoes shined, I guess they were that guy that was asking for it, his higher ups. It's like, get our shoe shine, blah, 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 and you got the job, and blah, 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 you'll be making a lot of money or something like that. And this was like in Baltimore, Maryland. So I guess businesses around there and that kind of stuff. That's like what, near New York in a way?
I am Guam. Like, I'm so bad. When it came to school, I just like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Living in Guam is like, I still don't know all the villages by
stuff.
Like every single one. Like, I don't even know where Umatic is. Like,
really?
I feel like it's southern,
well,
somewhere there. But then I got like Jonya, I got Talafofo, I got Santa Rita. But Umatic, I'm not sure. Where was the one that there's a recent car meet that they hosted for all the way down south? And I went there to show support and bring her a Nissan flag, but I forgot where it was.
Damn, that's far. I don't even know of this. I don't know. I've been so out of this car meet thing since there's been no track.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was his thing, is he had to shine shoe or shine shoes, whatever. And then he was like, do it within a certain time and I'll give you whichever car you want of these. And it was like a Mustang, like a 67 or 69 model.
Okay.
And it was a Dodge Charger. So it was also around that time. And then, you know, my dad did it so fast that once he got it, the guy was like, you know, you did this so great, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, if I get the job, you're having these. And he's like, what? You said that if I just shine them. So anyways, the guy got the job. He kept his promise. Gave my dad. He ended up, I think, just giving my dad both or one of them. And then I had to even like, is this story true? Because he told me this when I was young. So when I went there last year to visit my dad, I brought up the whole story, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I had to hide this from your grandpa." Blah blah blah. I put it in the barn, and he hid it.
Like he stole it or something?
Yeah. So he thought maybe because being black or whatever, but like he got the car, he drove it and parked it in the barn, and it sat in the barn for like years hiding, and he would just start it up and drive it when my grandpa would go like out of town. He'll drive it around, and then I think he ended up getting both. I remember the Mustang, and then he was saying about the Charger, but I don't know if the Charger was the same time.
What a thing to hide from your parents. Like,
yeah.
It's like when I was growing up, I was hiding, like watching like videos or playing games at night.
What kind of videos?
I mean, hey, at that time when I was young, it was on the TV.
Yeah, okay.
The channels weren't completely locked yet. You're going through, and then.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But now, it's like yours. Like, oh, I'm hiding cars.
Yeah, yeah. So his one, was a whole car, and from that, time. And then so his thing too is he got into cars from there, and then when he joined the military, he got drafted for Vietnam. So he was just like 18 at the time, and then got into Vietnam, did that. He stayed in the military, got higher up into the Navy, became a pilot. After he did pilot, then I believe he did Navy SEALs. He went and did that for Navy SEALs, and then I think when he got in, I think he only put in like half the time you're supposed to. And then after that, he got out. I think he just stopped and got out of the military. And I don't know if they deranked him or just didn't give him his rank.
Yeah.
But would have been cool probably if he stayed the whole thing. I mean, he got out when it was like 42, so when I was born, because my mom had me when she was 40. So
wow,
that was pretty high up as it was already.
Your mom had you at 40?
Yep. So the risk was really high, and I was born with like a heart murmur. So that's why I have like.
Your mom looks good for her age, I think. Well, she's 70 now, or
she's 74.
Jeez.
Yeah.
When I saw her, I thought she was like, like
I don't know,
like 50 or 60 or something.
Yeah, she's 74. She doesn't look. She has the whole Asian, never raisin type of thing, which is me too. And I'm 35.
Yeah.
So
you got both. You got both genes to help you out.
Yeah, no way. Greatly, it's I have little black as far as the muscularity part and the way I'm built and stuff like that is black, but I'm raised Filipino. Even if I'm like part Irish, I'm part Japanese. It's like none of those really shined out too much because I'm just more around Filipinos and Americans.
Right.
Yeah. But other than that, it's cool. Yeah. And then drifting part, my dad got me into that. I started looking up into it myself, and I looked into D1, and then D1 was like the thing. So I was like watching that, and I was like, oh, I want to make it here one day and drive this thing one day. Is that Carl?
Yeah. He's they said that they're getting coffee. Hello, handsome.
Hello, Pogi.
Who are you talking to?
Apparently
this
you
boy
right now.
There. I am not handsome. Hi, Papi.
Hello.
Say hi to the camera right here. Gotta lean in. Get on my lap. Give me the hawk tour.
What did you get? It looks like with like cinnamon and stuff. Or Thai
cold
tea.
brew, milk, and cinnamon. No sugar.
Wow.
It's bad for my diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have diabetes? I didn't know that. Is that from all the rice?
Huh?
Is that from all the rice?
It's all from all the Mr. Browns we drank one case when it was car show heavy before. Probably.
And not much on water then, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Water, what's that?
Before.
Yeah.
It's either Crown or Mr. Brown.
We were fucking we had a small fridge outside Chris's house.
Yeah.
That was always packed with fucking Mr. Brown.
So when did you know that you were like partly diabetic?
Well, I went to the doctor because everyone was like, oh, you look unhealthy, you're getting like too skinny or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like last year. I was like, I feel fine, I just work a lot kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then, they kept bugging me. I was like, fuck it, you know what? I'm gonna go. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Got
when I went,
it was
boom.
they found it in the blood, yeah.
Yeah.
Like their blood check and
Yeah.
stuff.
Like blood
Yo,
sugar
yo,
level
yo.
was like 300,
Hello?
400.
So you have to get your checks and stuff.
Yeah.
Hello.
What's that by?
Huh? So we're heading out?
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get the spot that I wanted, but it's okay.
Yeah. we'll head
Just
out.
us or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guys are still probably sleeping because we're drinking till like 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh, that's one thing you're gonna have to cut too now, huh? The drinking.
For the kids.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Favor? Can you bring this with you? I cannot bring it.
Oh, it's the handsome
I'll feed the
guy.
ride.
Hello, sir.
You don't have a cup holder?
I know. I never know if you're on island or if you're
back.
you're back. That's good.
Okay. Want us to go first? You gonna lead or what?
I don't know. Want to pull back in there?
Okay.
And,
All right. So people that aren't seeing that was a lot of my MTX boys, MTX Auto Group.
And this thing feels like your brakes are in lock.
Yeah. At least the rear right one. I think the rear left one's fine.
Yeah.
Based on what Journey said, but I think I'm just gonna buy left and right just in case, just to get it reset. Everything is as good as new on the same time, based on the price. So for context, we're going to a car meet at Proline for the kids, bringing toys and pretty much whatever. I forgot what it's called. What is that?
Like Toys for
Like
Tots?
like a charity, yeah, Toys for Tots kind of thing,
Yeah.
and car meet mix. So I guess it's just a couple of us. It's okay. There might not be enough space anyways, so hopefully get there in time. Okay. You were saying with your mom, had you at 40?
Oh yeah.
And then-
So yeah, when she had me at 40 and whatnot, and yeah, about like the whole like me having a heart murmur and what stuff. So that was like my own little defect. But yeah, I had a surgery like in '97, like on my birthday. Like so, like July 9 is like, okay, we're going into surgery. When I woke up, it was July 10, which is my birthday. So it's a blessing and everything. It was always been scary.
Yeah.
And everything, but hello. I don't want to chance it because it's not registered yet. I'm gonna register it, but I just didn't do it yet. I got pulled over already in it last night, so.
That's
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't know. Not on a Sunday. I don't want to be stuck on a Sunday.
You guys checked it out already with it?
Yeah, it's still empty. Like people are rolling in slowly.
Yeah, because fucking Neil just called.
Yeah, Neil rolled in. Yeah.
They were saying now it's back.
Yeah.
Oh, so then that was quick.
Well, it's 10. Oh no, it's almost 10. So people are trying to get their good spots.
Those guys are all Jigo side, right? They're all building.
Yeah. They'll usually in our chat. They didn't say anything yet, but they're most likely setting up. It's mostly just Rowell's cars. It's just the whole
Yeah.
thing.
All of Rowell's.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. Like, how many cars do you have? Dude?
Rowell's
Yeah.
fleet.
He's already at like
How do you
5,
not?
8. Yeah.
Like, isn't there a rule that you can only have certain cars in your house?
I mean, I had 13
No.
at one point, and then now I'm down to like 5.
Oh,
At this point, he's his own dealership.
Yeah,
Right.
Rowell's one's like a whole deal. His own is he can line his own up like next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but yeah, then, yeah, getting into drifting part was, watching D1. I was like, oh, I'm going to be here one day, blah, blah, blah. I want to chance myself getting here. I'm going to work hard to do this and get into that. And then I got my first 240 at 8th grade. I learned how to drive when I was 8
Wow.
because my dad at that time is when he learned how to drive also. So, he was just the same thing, like, son, when I got that car, blah, 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 I was 8 years old. And then I was like, what? And that's why he hid it for many years. Because once he got older is when he can drive. And he knows if he showed it to my grandpa, that he was probably going to like sell it, make money, and all that kind of stuff. So that's why he hid it for many years. So that's the like hidden story about it. So
that's so wild.
Yeah. So me, I learned how to drive at 8. I was tall already, so I was driving in our neighborhood. We had like a long bed Chevy truck. My mom had a SI CRX at that time, and I was driving the truck. And then
we got some audience members.
Yeah. So from there, when I got that 240, it was like the first 240 I could like buy. I bought it from a friend of mine called Ronnie. His name's Ronnie Boy. It's basically Ronnie Neras from Murder Squad. So I got one from him, but I also bought one before that, and I was like 8th grade. I got one from him around like 9th grade. And then, yeah, we have my mom had her like dream house built. I don't think I ever took you there, but we call it the big house.
At what point, when did you get to Guam?
Oh, I'm born and raised here.
Okay, so here you got everything. What you're saying is like 8th grade or when you're 8 and stuff like that.
Yeah, learning how to drive, everything like that. My dad he didn't live with us because he's like, I can't do Guam. It's just way too hot. You know, I was like, you're black. You should be okay with this kind of thing. But he's like, you know, he's statesider, so he just knows that job-wise, he doesn't feel that he can make so much money. But yeah, like from there, I got the car, and then I started like wanting to do drifting, and we had a big yard. My mom calls it the big house. So the yard was huge, and it was just nice, like okay, even grass. So when my mom like leaves, we just wet the grass. And then we'll just slid on it, and it was just me doing like donuts and learning figure eights, and you know, like watching online, like, oh, that's okay, he's doing this, he's doing that. And I'm more of a observer kind of guy, so I'll just look and observe. Or even when I rode with people, or even like professional drivers, when I go out, I was like, oh, he does it like this at this turn, he's holding it like that, he does this clutch kick at here, and he tries to pick up the throttle, miss. So I was just like, oh, okay, I think I could do that. And
is it one of those things where it's like, you know your body? So you're kind of in tune with your body. Are you like a natural athlete?
I would think so. You know, it's like I'm just kind of that guy that like when you see them do like kind of backflip. Hi.
Go lead the way.
Okay.
We'll head out now.
Try to figure out a place to all of us can
still
fit.
Fucking probably crashed out and shit.
How many cars we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4 cars and 2 bikes.
Yeah. So bikes, no problem.
Okay.
Space.
All right, I'm gonna try to find a spot that it's not too loud with the music, and then we can still talk and stuff like that. But you know, we'll see. Okay.
Yes, sir. I've been okay. Just, you know, newborn and everything, and then also trying to get my kids that are also in PI to bring them here. So kids be expensive. It was okay when we had kids in PI. But now when you were trying to bring them here, it's fucking expensive. Yeah.
Everything's quadrupled, quadrupled the price.
Yep. And I was like, you know, I just fly in usually to just watch them grow and just, you know, give them money every now and then. But now it's watch them grow in with me, and we give the money, and we have to go eat out, and it's more expensive here.
Oh yeah. Eating out's expensive.
Yeah, so I plan to do probably a little more traveling with the kids. And then at least when we go out, it's a lot. It's like, okay, you guys just save your money. We're not eating out anywhere. We're going to eat at the house. Then we'll travel, then we'll eat out.
Even us right now, cause since we're going to Japan next week, like, I barely fucking buy food. And you know me, like, fucking, I'm always eating out and shit.
You guys are going to stay there long, right? Until past TAS 2, right? Yeah, so I'll see you there. I'll be there. We should do a all Guam meet up there and just take a photo, and then we'll just all head out.
Okay.
Go.
Okay.
Head out.
Guess I'm leading.
Go.
Yep.
So something I forgot to get because I was only stressed about the podcast and recording that I didn't get a toy for the kids.
Oh.
So
yeah, I thought about that too, and I was like, oh, we were just at Ross yesterday.
So I have this. Maybe they'll like this. They don't really know what this is, and maybe
they don't know what it is. Yeah.
But I got I'll just fill in the eye, and that'll be my if they don't have any extra, maybe they have extra. Well, we can go back, touch base on that, but I wanted to, since we talked about it with Carl here, so you became a family man with your wife. How long ago was that?
We're about like 6 years.
6
years in. Yeah, about 6 years. We've seen each other like a long time ago, and it wasn't really anything back then. Then I got out of like a long-term relationship before, and I thought that was going somewhere, but she had other plans years in before we even broke up. So and then became a family man, but I'm still into my cars. I'm still into drifting. I don't think that's ever gonna change. I plan on drifting for a long time, but with us having no track, that's been kind of the thing.
It's a mood killer. It's not. It doesn't give you inspiration.
Yeah,
or
it
motivation
kills everything. I mean, I'm so devoted to being a driver that, like, I do whatever I can to get myself driving. So traveling has been my thing. I'll travel to go and spend the money and do it, and just to make us get good, or just for myself. I don't care what other people think. It's just of my own personal
experience. You want to be able to fulfill some dreams.
And I noticed too, for my health has gone down. Like, I'm falling apart. Like, my body's falling apart since the tracks closed. Like, in the year, like, I got COVID for the first time. Because I'm not breaking sweat. Like, I would help at the track. I make no money, zero money from helping at the track. Like, even when I did like drift games,
you spend more money than you.
Oh yeah, I spent more money. I was just having
passionate
fun,
hobbies.
Yeah, enjoying life. I didn't care about the money. I work hard for it enough. I don't think I need to take from people just to enjoy it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So like your mentality and your body, like your body's not being used for what you usually do. So your body's like kind of getting lazy.
It's kind of like people when they stop smoking.
And mentality-wise, like, it's all mental too, I think. It's like when you're mentally not wanting to do something and you're just not happy or what you're doing, and your body's like reacts to that.
Yep. So it's like, dude, I got COVID for the first time. I got like a stomach ulcer. Like, we had the storm, we lost our president for Team Albany, Jimmy Mendoza, rest in peace. But like, it especially when that happened, man, that thing like killed our whole morale for the group. Yeah. Like, I know I'm doing drifting like of my own team with Look Super and everything, and that was just it's a fun thing. It was guys that, of course, that are not in Albany, and it's not like we can just affiliate just adding people into Team Albany. So in drifting, it was just like, let's go create a team, which me and Ronald are in Albany. But the others, like Arvin, Ronald, and Jamie at the time, my ex-girlfriend, she was also in Albany. But it was just a fun thing. Like, I felt like the guys that I can put together, we can have like a real solid team. Yeah. And then like that killed everything when Jimmy passed. At the same time he passed, and I was helping out at work, and I lifted, and then later on I felt like, oh, my stomach hurts, and then turns out like I tore like a muscle in my stomach, and then they said I got like a internal hernia. Wow. So like, after the tearing a muscle, I ended up vomiting, and the vomit, which is acid, was running and burning up my that torn muscle inside my stomach. And then that made it worse. I went from like 190 and I dropped down to like 160. Losing weight, it was scary, dude. Like, I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. And then then they said after that I have acid reflux too now. So it's like, damn, it's crazy. It took me a long time to sort of like recover. Now, kind of got it again, and it's because I was just enjoying food and eating all this acidic food and oily foods, and I was like, now I gotta really cut down. And the doctors are like, yeah, you just gotta change your life. It's just like, it came with age.
Comes with age, and then it's a lot of things just change you. You got the age,
Yeah.
you got the family, you got kids. It's like
Yeah, all the stress was just kind of piling up, and I didn't know what to do with it.
right.
But yeah, with no track, man, it really killed everything of me. It's like I had to drive. I was traveling the Philippines just to do this, and everything was out of my own pocket. Like a real good help, of course, was from every sponsor. Like Good Glass was helping me, Vision was helping me, Nissan was the biggest help from it, and everyone that sponsored, thank you, shout out to everyone that sponsored and helped me out. I couldn't feel any blessed than feeling from that, because that was like never been that sponsored.
And then when did you have your kid? Your
Newborn now.
newborn.
So Jazira was born 8/9/24. So August 9, 2024.
Cute kid,
yeah.
by the way. When I see it, I was like, I kind of see your face, but I don't know if that's just me knowing it.
Yeah.
But
And also my wife's face, which is true. I get like a lot of mix where people are like, "Oh, it looks like your wife. It looks like you," and it's a very big mix.
mhm.
And a lot of people say it's a cute mix, which thanks.
Yeah, very cute. Very cute kid.
She's very jolly. She has her big moments where she's just like super calm. She's basically doing like what I'm doing right now. She does like this, and she just sits there and just like holds her hand.
Right.
And she does her own like this though. She holds her hands like this and just stays like that. And I'm just like, why are you being so nice? But she has her moments. She has her little rants every now and then. But nothing like too crazy.
Mhm.
But she just like, she's either uncomfortable or, she wants her milk but doesn't know if you know that. So she just kind of like slightly cries. She does a lot of fake cry, which a lot of kids do. So she has like fake cries where there's no tears.
Right.
Yeah. Other than that, she's super cute, super calm, super friendly. So like, it's kind of scary on that point where anyone can carry her. She doesn't cry.
Mm.
She doesn't like, "Where's my mom?" Just holds you, and she just starts laughing. And I'm just like,
I mean, I think
yeah.
it might be scary, but I think you just take in the
Yeah.
good that she is so far. It's like,
Yeah, like as long as it's like the friends that I make her, that make them hold. But she's right now the mama's little girl. Oh, where's that guy go? Yeah, she's right now the mama's little girl because I made the wife stay home. So she's the one that takes care of the baby.
look like you're having fun as a dad.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I like teasing
Mm-hmm.
my daughter. Same thing to my other kids that are in PI also.
Right.
Like, make fun of them all the time.
And how old are they?
So the oldest is Clyde. He's 14. The second is Kelly. She's 11. And then the last is Sky. And Sky is now 8. Yeah, I believe 8. 16, 17, or 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, she's 7.
Try and park here.
So she'll be turning 8 soon.
So these kids have cars yet?
So Clyde, I was originally supposed to give him my 240, the one that I put together like super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was supposed to hand him down that one, but of course to get them over here isn't cheap, so we had to, I had to let go of that car. I'm probably gonna have to let go of the Z. So that Z is honestly dear to me. I wanted to keep it, but I mean, I probably gotta let go right now as there's no track and it sucks. It's just probably gonna have to come down to that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like I would always love to keep my IQ,
Mm-hmm.
but you have like I don't have that feeling yet. With you have all these responsibilities and family.
Yeah.
It's like selling it. I'm sure is what's best because of course you gotta make sure your family's stable and taken care of. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, I don't even know if I told you, but I sold the car in Philippines. So, I had
the drift one.
the Pro car that we built in PI. And I mean, I got that in like 2018. And then thank you to DC, my friend DC, Daniel Saldana. he helped me get that car. He was like, "Hey, I'll help you look for a drift car," and I was like, "Okay, cool." So he found like the Batangas boys, like Clifford and those guys. They had a car that they were driving. It was a stock car. So when I got it, it was stock. Had the back seats, had the front seats, had aircon working, that kind of stuff.
It's completely your guys' fingerprints, like your touch for the racing, not somebody else's.
Yeah, so it was like they drifted it every now and then, joined a few practices and a little competition, but nothing serious. And then I was like pushing for it to be even bigger things. So I was just like, okay, we're gonna turn this into a pro car. But when I bought it, it was a stock car. I joined the Philippine National Drift Series, and you know, I was like the only international driver at the time. And then they told to other people, and they had other people come in and fly in to be drivers.
Right.
And you know, I was just like, I'm here to try and put Guam on the map. I want to try and be better, and you know, just for myself. I don't want to. It's nothing to care, nothing to be cocky of. It's just, this is my dream. I want to travel to be a driver. You know, so
yeah. Like I have that feeling with volleyball right now, because so that's my thing is volleyball in general, but beach volleyball is what we're doing right now, and that beach volleyball is a lot easier to get my own. Be able to just travel and do things and play, because you only need 2 people for beach volleyball.
Yeah.
And so the prices are a lot lower, and representing Guam is a lot easier because you can even put a couple teams out if you really want to, but usually it's just 1 or 2. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the people that represents Guam right now, but you know, I still got to work for it. But yeah, going around Thailand, or I would love to go to Japan or you know America for these tournaments. So.
Yeah, that one was like one of my favorite competitions I ever joined was Japan. Yeah, I mean we did like driving in Japan, so that was fun. We did drifting in Japan. It was, you know, I was strolled over with Big Whoop, and then you know we all met up, and then we strolled and we did drifting. I even brought Journey's first time in Japan, I believe. Was that his first or second time in Japan? I took him around and took Novell and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. And then, yeah, right now I still want to do the international driving. And that car when it was stock, we did 1 year with it, and it was kind of like it was like my breakup getaway. So because I you know came single, and I put all the money that I was supposed to go and get married with and all that stuff. I started traveling. So the whole year I traveled like 16 to 20 times within that year. Just Philippines. I went to Thailand. I went to Korea. I like just kept traveling within the Southeast Asia series or like area. And then it was just like thing to do. It's like, man, I kind of recommend it for anybody. Like just doing it. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, did the whole pro car thing. I kind of got my dream. I got to join not the D1, but I got to join a D1 series. It's affiliated, it's licensed and everything.
That's what I want to ask again, because I think we talked about it before, but is there like a point system that you have to get before you're even allowed to qualify for D1?
So like for
main one, or?
Southeast Asia series, right, or the Southeast Asia program of D1 or even Formula D, it's like now day and age, it's like they already assume a lot of people already have like a good title on their belt. They're not just kind of joining anything, right? So they kind of make it, if you can join, you especially at least in like Southeast Asia area, it's like these guys are just all real good drivers, and you know, and then if you're an international driver, what do you represent? So they could kind of see like the whole background, like, oh, Vaughn has his resume. He was champion in Guam, and you know he's done it 3 times, and all that kind of stuff. You know, not even knowing that I'm not saying I'm the best of the island. You know, there's a lot of good guys that are driving out here, but I would say maybe consistent. I would probably just say maybe that's where I'm at, is being consistent. Yeah, but
there's definitely a consistency in competition, because even me, like I'm nowhere near the best volleyball player on Guam, but in terms of me consistently going to the beach and national practices and being the only one other than the people that come in and out, it's like I am the consistent one that's practicing, and I have the time, and I have the able to pay for these trips, and So it's like I want the guys that are really good to come out and practice, but I'm the only one that's really staying out there and doing things. So
Yeah.
that's why for now I'm representing Guam, but I want to be able to make sure like I can beat other people on Guam, because it doesn't make sense if I'm going to tournaments on off island to
Yeah, and you can't beat
represent.
anybody
It's
from
a good
your own
experience,
place,
right? But it's like, yeah, why even do that when I should be trying to beat people here first?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can only do that during tournaments and pickup games, but these people that are good, they're not joining the national team for some reason.
Yeah,
They don't have time, they have obligations.
That's exactly how it was. So even with me with drifting, right? Like, okay, I got the 3-time champion, blah, blah, blah. Not consistent 3 times, but it probably would have been. But there was times like, okay, when I did get a season champion, I was like, I'm gonna take a break. And then that's usually kind of mostly everybody here on island. Once they got a season champion, they're just like, I'm break or I'm done. I don't need to prove anything. And I was like, well,
Got my win.
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a proving thing. I mean, I started only competing like competition wise 2010, right? But I didn't do it consistently. 2011, I did it consistently, and then I got 3rd place for the season. And that was my first time actually doing a complete season.
2011.
Yeah, in 11.
That's when I graduated high school. I wasn't even in the car scene yet, I think.
Yeah.
I was, I got my car at 2013. It was a model 2013. And I just got into like cars at that point. I was more into airsoft before that.
So and from there, like you can kind of see like where you kind of get into it and you just keep it going. So same thing with me. Like that happened 2011. I got 3rd place of this season. Dan.
How old were you at that point? We're the same age, right? No, you're over like 34.
I'm 35.
35.
So
you're
yeah. Well, I'll just be like
21,
around
22?
Yeah, 21, 22. Like I wasn't really competing until those years. Probably if I competed earlier, I mean, I started drifting at 14 or 13, 14. Around that time, I was drifting already, like illegally, which I don't recommend that with anybody. But it was just we didn't really have a thing, right? Of course, it's gonna come regardless. I had no money. I had a car, but I didn't have money to go to the racetrack and do it.
People argue it's going to happen if there's no racetrack.
Yeah.
So that's why people are putting it out there. Like, we need this racetrack so these people that are doing car stuff don't do it illegally. Exactly. They can do it at the track.
Yeah. But me, of course, I did start illegally. I'm pretty sure anybody will. So it's because some people have this mentality like, oh, I don't want to show up to the racetrack. I'm going to look like a fool. And I was like, you shouldn't even worry about looking like a fool. It's just there to have fun.
It's about learning, having fun, but learning. It's like, I went with the 240 when I had it, and you helped me fix it, but the suspension was still bouncy.
Yeah.
So going and then trying to drift, and then it's like bouncing is hard to be consistent.
Yeah, but you were pretty.
I didn't care. I was like, I wanted to try it out.
That you were doing good when you got it actually with when we did the driftmas bash. That one was really good. You actually did way better than anyone that was probably drifting for about like a year. Then you did. You joined the Walls Are Closing In. Remember that? Yeah, and you made it to like
that was
third to the last.
Yeah, so, I think I was. Yeah, I'm not skilled enough to be like how others were like angling it kind of.
You were consistent though. You were smooth. Yeah. It was smooth. And I remember you're, I think, like 3 points away to taking the Rookie of the Year one. That one was pretty good because like everything as far as point system and how far you made it. Yeah, and I think that's what it came down to was that Vince, his name was Vince, the FRS. He just started drifting that year, and I was teaching him, and he was getting better throughout the year. And yeah, I think he just points you up a bit. And I was just like, oh. Because I know it was you, and it was between you. There was like 5 of you guys, but the highest was you, Vincent, and Ryu.
Ryu.
Yeah, it was there. I think Ryu got like runner-up type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It's unfortunate that was like one of the last ones.
Yeah.
And my car started to leak gas at that point.
Oh, so yeah, the gas tank started.
The gas tank started leaking, so I was like, okay, I'm going to buy the gas tank, the fab one where you build and you weld in the back, and it's going to go in the back trunk. I'm going to do that, but track closed down. So I was like, am I really going to spend this money and time, fix this car when really I can't drift it? I'd go to Paseo and like do those things, but that's it. You have to do things illegally if you want to drift, or you have to set up these events that are in parking lots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, granted, Nissan, we do our car shows, and there's drifting there, but that's only once a year, and
Yeah.
for now. Who knows if we start implementing more of N-Gen drifting competition, that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it would be fun. I mean, yeah, the whole drift games thing too, like when I was doing that, like people were like, oh, Vaughn be making all the money, pocketing, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, honestly, I made nothing. All the prizes and gifts were from my sponsors that gave me things before I even made any event. They were winnings from me winning from all the drift competitions I've ever joined. Because sometimes at drift competitions I join, the wins, they don't give them like at front of when they're like, hey, he's the winner, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's like right after, and it's like dude, like sometimes like a month later, and they're like, hey, this is all the winnings from that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just taking it. And they just sit. Because like I said, I don't really care to those winning things. It's just for me having fun. Like I spend the money. That's why we got all these people that complain and cry about things, and I'm
getting a
like,
trophy is in itself is awesome. Getting like recognition of being one that won. It's like I won that autocross tournament that one year, and I got the trophy, and I was like, hey, I could say that I was the fastest time of that division and of the day. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. But I don't have any money. I didn't get any.
Yeah,
like,
same thing. Yeah, I did the whole autocross. So I started actually autocross first, and that was my first like actual. I would say automotive.
Motorsport?
Not motorsport, because I used to do go-kart racing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, go-kart racing came before drifting, and I was doing go-kart racing stateside in here. And that was fun. So I won a good amount of trophies from that. And then the autocross part, when I did autocross, even them, they were freaking out because just my first year, I took like a few trophies. And then
I bet that go-kart thing helped a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Lines and everything.
Yeah, it helped a lot. And I was in a Corolla. Like your basic 2003 Corolla.
Would you be like slower in the Corolla?
I was actually fast.
I mean, I'm talking about compared to the go-karts.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
in the go-kart, you're fast, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, does it feel fast?
I had a 4-speed shift cart, and I was in a toddlers division, like K1 division. So that one was what it was, and it was okay. So it was cool. And then after that, like, I did the go-kart for a while and moved out, and now all that stuff was in storage. And I don't know whatever happened to that. But that was when my dad was in the military still and whatnot. But yeah, that helped a lot in as far as me driving, because people were like, oh, you need to drive like this and drive like, and I'm just like, okay. But you know, my mind was like, I'm not trying to be rude and like, I don't want to listen to you. But it was just like, my style was just the type to watch you. So even at the track, they're just like, hey, Vaughn, we're going to go walk the track. You need to walk it so you know. And I was just like, no, I'm good. And then you're just like, you know, you're not going to know. So I'm the guy, like, I'll just watch like 3-4 times of someone driving it. And then I'll go and do my first run. And then they're like, oh, you didn't miss any gate. How did you know the track? And I'm just like, oh, I just watched.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, my first run's always going to be junk. And then, on practice, though, it's like I just did that, and then I'll observe it. And be like, okay, I lost time cutting here. I lost time cutting there. And I'll time myself, too. Like, I had, you know, the little stopwatch, but I mounted it to my steering wheel. So it was on the backside of my steering wheel. And what it is I had it was like on a zip tie, and I had it here. And then what it is I'll just make sure it's ready to go. I'll turn it around on the backside, and then I'll just, boom, just press it. And then I'll just do my race and whatever. And then at the end of it, it's just, once I'm about to, you know, you're at full throttle, right, tap it again, because it was on the side. Oh, battery died.
Yeah, battery died for the GoPro. At this point, we can take a break?
So me and Ritz has been doing our interview. Well, the GoPro is already overheated,
and we're back.
Yes, we are.
How's your experience with this meet?
It's pretty chill. I mean, you know, you see the usuals of everyone. I think I've seen almost every car here. I don't think I've seen anything new yet. Well, except the Maserati. That one's probably the newest one I've ever seen. Everyone else is, it's either they just repainted the car. I mean, not like anything's bad.
Put
Everything's
some
good.
Christmas decorations on them.
Yeah, of course, I saw Vince Valence's own, like I was saying earlier, his 350Z. It reminds me of my own when we did the Christmas. So his own was blue. It looks really nice. I think they fixed his door. I'm not too sure, but it looks really clean.
His is not the one that was wrapped with the Christmas present on top, was it?
No, it was.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, damn. This shit looks nice. I know he was saying that it was going to be a long night or something. I remember doing my own, and it was like right on competition day. I think I bought like 10 Christmas wrapping paper. Like the cheapest I could find was like 85 cents at a shop for less.
Yeah.
And then they had like bundle of 3 of the same color. So I was like, oh shit. So I bought like 10 of those or something like that. So, and then I did it right before competition, and then it was cool. And then I think I ended up winning that competition, and then I was like, damn, it was worth it. It was fun.
Got Santa on your side.
Son?
Santa.
Oh yeah, Santa cheering me on that competition day. Yeah. How about you? How's your take on this?
I like it. It's it's very packed. It makes it look a lot better because it's packed compared to the last one that I was at Paseo, where it was the big meet, right? But it was like a lot of cars, but they were kind of spaced out, and there's a lot of empty space.
Was that you're talking about the one that we judged,
yeah.
or that one?
That one I like, but as well, it's like if it was all more packed in and stuff, it makes it more feel like a car show like people can't leave. Like they have to stay there until the end of the show.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that about certain shows and music because like you're instead of just coming in and out, some people can do that when they're over there, but
yeah,
being able to walk around and all you see are cars around you.
Yeah, I think it's good to be stuck. As far as for a car meet, a car show perspective, because when people are stuck, like it keeps people from leaving.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good turnout.
Yeah.
Probably it would be a lot nicer to see like the more showy cars on the inside of everything. But other than that, it's good though.
Yeah, it's a decent mixed turnout. So for a good cause. I think people are mainly coming out for that, and in general, it's like a pro line meet and stuff.
Yeah.
When's the end of summer? Do they do one, or is like this?
Which one? Like a car
pro
meet?
line end of summer? Do they still do those?
I'm not too sure. I mean, like I said, I've barely been intact with all this thing, only because like there's no track. So me doing car meets and car shows is really kind of not my thing. Even if in our group, like we've been kind of known with car shows, but for me, it's like I like the vibe of just seeing everyone I haven't seen in a while.
Right.
But I mean, I would like to build a show car, maybe, but it won't be like a show car. It will be like a clean car. It'll be like a fucking track car. Yeah. It'll be a track car that's like heavily built and just put together as nice as I can, and that would be my show car. Yeah. I'm just that type of guy that I don't care. I just kind of I see cars that should be just ready to driven and not too taken care of.
That was the thing. I don't know where I heard it from, but somebody said like there are show cars, but then like track cars, race cars are show cars.
Yeah.
You like whatever you do, like it's busted or whatever, but you show that it's been driven. It's like competition.
That's kind of like my show car. Like that's my style of wanting to see a show car. Like when I go to like the D1 and Formula D stuff and all these big, like places, and then they have like before competition, so they park their cars in the paddocks, and I just like to go there and look at like, oh damn, they built it like this and it was built this way. Those are the kind of cars, show cars that I like looking at. Yeah. So
there's a nice edit that someone did of a rally car maybe, or it was a drift car. But it was like a sweeping shot of it in the showroom, and then it quickly cut to like the music was cutting, and then it goes to the after, like before and then after. So that was really cool when you see how clean it was. As a clean, everything's built just in time for competition. After competition, what's it like? Ballast cars, the dirt, people
the rawness,
into it.
basically.
Yeah. That was cool. That's what I like to see.
Yeah,
too.
To me, I like seeing those things like those. Like so far, when I saw like top guys that I've like watched since I was young, like Daigo Saito and like Kawabata and those kind of guys, when I saw them running or their cars built in person, it was like that was like cool things for me. Till this day, it's like I like seeing that. Like if I was to look at this Jeep, this lifted Jeep, that's the one that I would be like more interesting because like damn, how they put this together, how they make it lift up and stuff. Those are my kind of thing. Hydraulic guys too. I like looking at those things too.
Yeah, because there's a part of it where it's not just money. It's actual time. It's what are they thought of? Like what's thought of and what's the design. For me, that's how I judge a lot of cars in terms of what I like. Is it like form and function and designs? Like the Maserati is my favorite because the way it looks is very sleek.
Yeah.
The sportiness is very great. The function of it, all those vents and what it looks like airflow and everything. The Ferraris or Corvettes, like they look good too, but then there's a thing about the Maserati that looks more like a
unique,
but something about the Ferraris, those circular taillights. You know what I'm talking about? Like plastic. They look like it's a toy. It looks cheap to me, but you know, obviously if it's a Ferrari, it must be expensive. But the point of it is like when you look at it, it's like it looks like you bought it. It's like a toy car, and then those plastic things are sticking out. Yeah. Not for me, but in terms of function and form, everything, you know, if it works, it works. But now I'm really stuck in here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was looking at the space though. I think if they did a double, you know how they had them sideways like this, they could have done a double, so it'd be a double stacked of that sideways. Looking at it, but then again, it's really hard when people are just coming in, so you can't really see that.
Well, it looks like they're trying to do a whole another row with what they're bringing in.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to put the trucks in too.
Yeah.
One slip of the foot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my way. Like, I like this because in terms of practicality and functionality, like it's it depends on what you use it for. Maybe he doesn't take it off road, or if it is functional on those hills and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, they were just getting those guys out, maybe.
Yeah.
I see. But I like the look of it. It's very unique. I don't know who else has this lifted kind of setup with monster truck tires.
He's my neighbor in Jigo. He's young, like real young. I forgot his name though. It's kind of a unique name too, like I don't know, like Harmony or Sanity or some shit like.
His last name?
His first name. I forgot what it is though. But cool guy. His dad. They're like Mexican local. So like they've been into like hydros for years, but they're very chill. They're not into doing too much.
Yeah.
Nate didn't know we were in here, so that was good. Didn't see. Yeah, there was a lot like.
Yeah. Because like, I think you agree too. With the stock vehicles like the Z's, they look good, sure, stock, but then you gotta put a little bit more effort into it for me to give it some points for like a show car.
Yeah, especially like to get into it and like it kind of thing.
Because in terms of the Maserati versus a car that's been really built and changed, like, Maserati is nice, but then I would probably give it to the other car if it was depending on how well they built it.
Of course. Yeah, the Maserati and like all those other like supercars there would just kind of fit in their own category. Yeah.
Do you know anybody that really soups up any supercars here besides maybe like the GTR, if anything, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I've only seen the GTR as a supercar.
Yeah, only GTRs. I think they're like more relatively like available to souping up the parts. They might be expensive, but they're not as expensive as if you were to compare it to like for a part for a Maserati.
Yeah.
Like, because when you see like, I pay like 200, 300,000, probably like 400,000 for like a Maserati. I forgot how much is the price for one, but I mean, imagine paying that, and then of course they know if you can pay for that, our intake kit is gonna cost like this amount and everything. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough, and I don't know. I just recently saw a video on this guy mechanic on some supercar or sports car, and he was saying, "Let me show you what you can take off this car without tools. Like you don't need to be opening the hood or anything."
Oh,
and he
yeah.
goes to the vent, and he just pretty much takes it off,
Pops it off.
pops off, and then it goes to the price on the eBay or whatever or something. And then
that
just
was
takes some
a Porsche.
wrenches. Was it Porsche?
Porsche headlight. That's like the most common headlight.
There's that one that we
Yeah.
stick a stick under there.
Yeah.
And people have just been taking it. There's all these
Everywhere,
ones.
yeah. They were taking Porsche headlights everywhere.
That was one too.
To where this guy made a kit to where you can't remove it. You would have to remove the bumper. He made like this block off kit so you can't stick anything in there. So
I
people
wonder how much money he made after.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he was probably selling that thing for like $500 just for the kit.
What if he's the one that did that? Like he's the one that found it out and be like, okay, now let's have some people promote how you find it.
It was basically someone that worked at like a dealership. And then they're just like, oh, to replace it is just do this and do that and then pop it on and here you go, you're good to go.
Someone likes my little SEMA emblem.
This is Dwayne. So this is the owner, part owner of 671 Motorsports. Yeah.
That's the one next door? No.
No, they're in Anigua. I mean, I don't know if they changed, but yeah, they're down in Anigua.
I think they're still there. They're like just before the coffee shop.
Before that, Slow Walk.
That one too, but isn't there like Island Coffee or something like that?
Yeah.
I went to them to see if they could fabricate a roll cage for the IQ.
Yeah, they can. They're the one that did my roll cage for the S12.
Mm-hmm.
So they did the roll cage, and all I did was like add on certain things. So that one was
IQ's
okay.
small, like in terms of space, but they were looking at it. They were telling me.
I mean, if they do like a in-car one, which would be good, I would say get an in-car, like make like a bolt-on kit.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good, because then at least you can take it apart and put it back together.
I mean, my car's all panels are all taken off because I'm like removing wires and things that are not being done. Mm-hmm. So I'm just pretty much not stock, but I'm removing things that are not needed, and then seeing like what I could do, like replace this with a black paint or material on the other one, the headliner. Yeah. Replacing the panels with like the suede stuff like that. So maybe that would be a good time if I really wanted for like autocross, like make it more of an autocross car. Car, I would tell them, man, now it's all removed. What can you guys do for me? And see what they could do. That car is a fun car, anyways. Like there's no comfortableness with that one anymore.
Oh, of course.
That's why I'm glad I have this, because I can be relaxed and date nights and stuff like that. Like this is that car. And if I want to daily drive the gas saver.
Kind of how I felt with that's how I feel with my Z. So the Z, it's like, it's a drift car, and it's all ready to go, and it's just a have fun drift car. It's not like a pro car or what, but it's reliable and it's smooth. So it's like, even if me driving it regularly, I feel comfortable with it. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna probably have to sell that car though sometime.
Yeah. I mean, once you're all established again, what would you buy? Like everything is done. Kids are, they're all taken care of. You have a good thing with the family and housing, all that stuff. What's your car? If you sell everything and you have like a daily that you take care of the kids and everything, what's your car that you would probably buy after all that?
Like a sports car wise?
In terms of, if you're selling your Z and your drift cars also, like what would you want to be like, I need this back?
I still want an R34.
R34?
I still always wanted an R34. That's been my number one dream since I was young. I don't care about the whole GTR badge, all that. For me, I just like the car itself. That's what made me into Nissans a lot better.
What about is like the how it feels driving it, or the weight, the
I just like the way that it looks. I've driven 3, and to me they just feel comfortable. They're very narrow. They're very skinny actually, but it has that hug feeling. So I don't know. I really like that kind of feel. So it's good for me.
It's cozy.
Yeah, it's cozy. It's kind of like how I feel in the Z. The Z is super cozy. Like I would rock the Z all the time. It just feels very comfortable to use.
2-door or 4-door?
2-door. I always wanted a 4-door, but when I driven a 2-door, I was like, I think a 2-door is all I'm gonna get. 4-door is like, I'll probably get both. I would get a 4-door and I'll get a 2-door. The 2-door would be my like Sunday cruise, while the 4-door is for the family.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that at the Nissan showroom, that one engine, I was like, oh, I can see that being what I would go for.
Yeah, if I was gonna get a 4-door, I think I thought about it because one I driven was it was a 4-door 4, so it was all-wheel drive 4-door RB25 GT.
Okay.
So it wasn't turboed, or it was turboed, but they're not meant to be turboed on that model.
Mm-hmm.
But you put turbo on it, it's just like a GTR if you think about it, because that's kind of what most with the GTR is. So that would be my thing. Or getting my Pulsar back, getting my GTR back. That one was like a fun little car. That was like my other dream car.
Yeah, I was looking at that one and I forgot the guy's name at the recent meet, but he had his there, and I was like, see, I can drive this. Like, it's like practical family, fit things in the back kind of car. Like that one, my POW was nice, but in terms of, I could still fit people in the back, and then practicality wise, the Nissan POW was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But what's it? The Stagia?
The Stagia, yeah. Stagias are cool. It's extremely heavy.
Is it?
Yeah. They weigh like 4,000 pounds, near 4,000 pounds. Yeah, they're pretty heavy. Depending on which model too you get. I mean, you get I think the one that I saw that was like near 4,000 was an all-wheel drive version. And I was just like, damn, this thing's freaking heavy. The hatch itself is like, it has to be sturdy, and it's a trunk framed with it. So yeah, that one's heavy.
Yeah, I think I've been seeing them around. I wonder if they brought in more, if that's the only two that I knew about.
There's a few. Journey's brother-in-law has one. So, honest, his one's. He also got a GTT also. Yeah.
I know Journey's been always talking about getting the GTRs and all that.
Yeah, so he's into GTRs too. I mean, he got his own on a steel. I saw that one, and I was gonna go and try and get that one too. And then he just like messaged me like one day, say, hey, you want to help me pull a car? And I was like, okay, shoot. We go to the guy's house, and it was like, wait, is this the one that was on Facebook Market? Blah blah blah. And it was like cheap, like dirt cheap, like for a GTR. It was like $12,000. And then it just had like, I think it was like a misfire or something. We just needed a coil. I had a coil, I believe, and I just gave him, and I was just like, try it out. And it was like good. And then Journey from there, it's like, he did his Journey thing and tuned it and whatnot. And I was just like crazy. I was like, wow.
It's pretty fun. I'm still in the search for my dream car, but talking to people, going to these meets brings it closer. If I were to go to Tokyo Auto Salon and see maybe what you can look at there, but
yeah, you're going, right? You're going to...
I need to buy the ticket. I've been so busy getting everything collected.
Like a plane ticket?
Yeah, plane ticket, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you should be getting that now, man.
Yeah.
That thing's going to skyrocket to like 700 plus. I got it when it was 309.
That's what they're telling me.
Yeah, and that thing's going to go and skyrocket. And then the tickets, the task tickets sell out really quick, so you might want to get that too. Tickets are cheap. They're like $75. Yeah. And you can go on media day or the actual day. I wanted to do media day, but I wasn't so sure. But my wife already like scheduled. We're gonna eat at this buffet at Azuka, and it's like a all you can eat like Wagyu and steak for like 20 minutes, and then we're just like, oh, and it's like $50 a head.
20 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's Japanese standard.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to finish everything within like 15 minutes,
No
right?
talking, it's just
it's just eating, and it's all you can eat though, and this is Wagyu, so Wagyu alone, just getting like a good amount of set in there is already like $100+ into it. I mean, it's a whole buffet of steak, of different meats.
Yeah.
So you can get Kobe beef, and I was like, man, I'm just going for that Kobe beef. That's like, I went to a restaurant before, and it's like $100 for like a freaking like 8 ounce. It's like, god damn. But yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about prices on Guam for like sushi and like the quality. Okinawa as well. It's like Okinawa, sometimes you need to bring stuff in.
Yeah.
And then go to Tokyo, like everything's cheap. It's like just go to Tokyo for whatever your food. prices are lower,
Yeah.
quality's better. So that's what I really need to do.
Yeah, Okinawa was fun though. When I went to Okinawa for a competition back in February of this year, one of hands down the best competition I joined. It was just exciting all around. People, the vibes, everybody just left and right. Like, hey, you're that Drifter Vaughn guy, or hey, and I was like, dude, how do these guys know me?
Yeah.
And like they're just like, hey man, I seen your like journey of traveling into in Philippines and competing and the issues you go through and you're like, yeah, but you're having fun and it's funny, like some of your stories. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know that I have this guy on Instagram. So, and my stuff's all public. I don't hide anything. It's like everything you can see. My Instagram's public, my Facebook's public. I'm not one of those like super secretive guys.
Yeah, I mean, you've always been really nice and to people on Guam and drifting community. Like, even meeting you, it's like you're very nice to show me what's going on and help me out. And so I think just in general, you've made a good image for drifting in general. Like you were part of the reasons I think a lot of people are liking drifting and like to watch. And
I try.
People are comfortable around this sport. It's not too like gatekeeping. Like there's no
like talk shit about that guy. I don't like that guy. I ain't gonna help him.
Yeah, everyone is very nice and helpful to new drivers.
I try to keep it that way. I mean, life's too short to be all stuck up in everything. So, I've always like welcomed anybody to anything that I get into. So, I mean, of course, regardless, I guess I'm doing something right if I have haters every now and then, right? So,
sure, it's always gonna be. I mean, if you really get into your head with social media, it's always the haters that you kind of remember a little bit more. But then you don't appreciate the people that are watching you because you're entertaining and then actually saying good things. But I've heard that a lot about people and then popular people and influencers and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah, for me it's just don't pay attention to anybody that's like that. It makes it easier when you don't even acknowledge that. Okay, you got the haters. I mean, you can just know, oh, this guy don't like me. Oh well, and move on to the next guy, or move on to the next thing of just enjoying life. I mean, when you start getting death threats, then that's the time when things are like, whoa.
Have you?
I've had a few. I've had and it's just
is
funny.
Is it competition based, or is it just someone that watches you and thinks that
they just think like, oh, you think you're hot stuff and this and that? And I was like, I don't think I ever think that. No. Like, I actually don't care if they do think that I think like that.
I'm just a chill guy.
Yeah, right. And then start playing the music, hands in the pocket.
I'm just a chill guy.
Yeah, but I've had a few. I had a few death threats, and it's weird, but usually the ones that are doing the death threats are like the ones that don't have a Facebook or don't have basically don't show their face. So it's like
it's all online.
Yeah, so it's like
nothing's in person that someone like.
Nah, never had in person. I mean, I'm very social, right? So I'm very open, and I shake everybody's hand, whether the guy didn't like me because his friend lost against me, which I've had before. That guy didn't like me because he kicked me out because I was doing illegal stuff, and I was like, well, you're doing illegal stuff. What do you want?
Yeah.
I've only had those, but it's never been anything.
From my perspective, it's definitely if they're with their group, then they're a little bit more courageous.
Oh yeah.
But when you get to somebody at one-on-one and you're like, you show them, oh hey, what's up, and then they'll most likely be, oh hey, they'll acknowledge you. But if they're with a group or something, then they either don't or they are like, oh, who's this guy? Making fun. It's like,
yeah, this is nothing much. I've only had that. I was long time ago though. I mean, as I got older, not even once. Maybe only twice I've ever had a death threat. Oh, I'm gonna kill you because you didn't allow me into here and this and that. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Yeah. And then I said, hey, you want to talk about it? And then he's like, well, you think this is funny? This is all on message. And I'm just like, hey man, you can say all you want. You can say you want to beat me up and this and that, but hey, I'm always here to talk if you want to talk. I'm still welcoming these people that whatever they threaten and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always had, regardless, I have those people that are not intentionally saying I hate you, but I've had those where they're just like, oh, you're the representative of drifting, Mr. Representative. And then I'm just like, I mean, shit, you can do it. I mean, you can be the representative. No one else is doing it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put us on the map while you're here just trying to complain about me.
It's like, why put someone down for something that is maybe something that you like?
Yeah.
Like you're a net positive for drifting on Guam, but in general, it's like you help people get into the sport.
Yeah.
There are people that just, I don't know, they just hate to hate. There's no reason for it. They just don't have any hobbies. Besides.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just, it's normal to me already. It's came to this thing where, you know, if anyone has something to say, I just don't care. And a lot of people always ask me that, like, how can you not care? And I'll get annoyed. I'll beat the shit out of that guy. And I'm just like, why? I mean, it doesn't matter. What is he gonna do? Put the food on your table? He's the one that takes your food away. Yeah.
Is there any connection with like how you look, like your background, and do you get it? Like people thinking that you're not local, or
I get it a lot.
What is it?
So I guess being on island, right? Even being born and raised here, I get a lot of people think like, oh man, that guy's Chukis. I've been told from girls that I'm like some handsome Chukis guy. I've got whole like, oh, you're Pohnpeian, so you know that's why you look good or whatever. And I'm like, huh? First of all, thanks for with them thinking I look good or whatever. But like, but yeah, my background is my grandma and grandpa, they are Black Irish, so they're African American Irish. Further back on my grandpa's side is my great grandma was American or Irish and then married like a black guy, and then my grandma's side is black and then was married to a Black Irish guy, so that kind of thing. And then my mom's side is Spanish, because Philippines and them getting colonized from Spanish. And then the Japanese side, because Japanese also took over in the Philippines, so my grandma's side of that. Yeah, it just goes like further back. So yeah, I'm Black, Filipino, Spanish, Irish, Japanese, as far as I know.
Guamanian.
And Guamanian for being born and raised here. Yeah. But I grew up in here, the U.S., and in Philippines.
Right.
So it kind of still been like all over.
Yeah, it's that it's weird when you grow up, because for me it's like I'm saying, it's like I grew up. I was not born here. I was born in California, but quickly was moved to Guam, where my parents went to school and they are working as teachers. And then I was just at some point when I was at the cognitive, I remember like, oh, I'm a white kid. I'm not just a kid. I'm like, I never thought about that. But then until I started getting older and people started, making like giving you jokes of being, oh, hey, like white kid or white boy, or saying how tall I am and stuff like that. Oh, this is not good for the battery.
I've got that a lot too.
So yeah, it's like you kind of learn to get somewhat thick skin with that. Never bothers me. Like I don't always think of it like, oh, everyone's like a anti, or not anti, it's what's it called, reverse racism, where it's they say it's like, oh, pick on him because he's a white guy, or you think I'm military or stuff like that. But like I grew up here. Like it's just a odd thing to deal with, but everyone has their own struggles and how you deal with it.
Yeah. So yeah, growing up, that was my thing. Always the like, oh, Black Filipino, but I was like a chubby Black Filipino kid, so a lot of people just thought I was like Chukis, which I was okay with. I didn't mind it. Got it a lot anyway.
Yeah. If you were to say to a new, like maybe start them off at 16 or 17, maybe around there, and they're liking these cars and maybe they're liking the drifting, what do you think is a good way for them to start getting into this community and possibly drifting? Let's say the track might be opening up soon, right? With talks of the contracts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the drift track is going to be open. What do you think, 17-year-old? What would you tell them if he asked you, how do I get into this? And
like into like the sport to do something.
The scene, the sport,
I would.
The mentality of like getting a car, like how expensive are cars to get started in.
I would say not taking them to a car show. I would say going to a car, like a sport event of it. Like if you wanted to get, say example with drifting, right? Because when you go to like those drift events or drag racing, whatever, they're kind of a car show regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then with the car show part of it, it's gonna keep going as, you know, they're gonna see the sport and then they want to try it out. So from there, it gets better from there. So that's what I can say is bringing them to car events, because most people that I got them into the event or into drifting, they came to a competition. Like I invite everybody, hey man, I'm having a competition, come down. He's like, yeah, but I gotta pay though. I was like, nah dude, it's free to watch. They're like, what, it's free to watch? Yeah, it's free. Everybody can come chill and watch. You don't have to pay anything. You just come down to watch. And then they're just freaking out from there, and then they kind of get into it and they're like, oh cool.
Yeah.
So
it's because I guess car meets and car shows, it's kind of, you got the cars all parked, but you're not necessarily seeing them driven, or the people that are the only cars typically aren't just like standing next to the car, so you can't really go up to them and talk sometimes. Yeah. And a lot of groups, sometimes they tend to be standoffish, like they don't want to really mingle with everybody else. Yeah. But if you go to like a racetrack and there's people with their cars and you see cars driving and drifting or drag racing, it's like you see what the cars can do, you hear what they sound like, and the people are always, I mean, from what I say, hear and see, it's like you can go up to their cars and be like, they'll talk about the car, and they'll show you, give you rides. Like you give rides to people in the drift cars a lot. Yeah, just offer it to anybody. You know, like I see people and I'll be like, hey, you want to ride? And they're like, what, really? And I'm like, yeah. I just try to, that's how I feel to get people more involved, because even for me, like I just keep inviting people over, like come down, you know, ride, and try to make them have a good time so they kind of get into it. And sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of like Carl Dumusig. So like in the beginning, I was teaching Carl how to drift. You know, he like just bought a Z. I didn't have a Z at the time. I had my S12 still. And, you know, I took him on a ride, and then he was like, oh, I want to get into this. And, you know, I told him like, yeah, dude. He's like, I don't know if my car can do it. And I took his car, and then we drifted his car, and he was just like, holy cow, dude, my car could do it. So then from there, he started like putting parts into his car and getting more into it. And I started seeing him a little more often at tracks. And then, you know, he knew people, but that's from like skating. Yeah. Because everyone that's drifting is all skaters before. That's what I noticed. And then all of us from skating, you know, then he started seeing people, and he had his Katie garage, and then he had his Team Exile thing, and it started growing, and then friends became more friends, and then it became another thing, and then he started getting good. But he had a good amount of lack, that's what I would say, with Carl. And then later on, I told him, I said, bro, my team's barely out anymore. Let's just keep tandeming. Like I'm down to tandem. I kept telling him like, I can feel trust within you. I feel like this could be better. And he was just like, shoot, let's do it. So we just kept doing it as fun. It became me, him, and Jasper. Right. And then we all just progressed from there. And you know, I'll tell him like, hey, I'll drive slow. You just try to stay close to me, but don't hit me. And, you know, and then it became a practice thing. And then we all became really good at it, and it got nothing but better from there. I feel like when I think of the drifters on Guam, it's definitely you, Jasper, and Carl. There are other guys, obviously, I remember, but in terms of the go-to people, I remember always the consistent cars and the shine. And that was the thing I told always them. I said, it doesn't matter about how sexy you can drift or how badass you're known or whatever. It's kind of like Rex, you know, nothing to say shame about Rex or bad or whatever, but it's just true, right? So people will look at Rex and be like, Rex is the guy, he's the drifter god, you know, like that kind of stuff, because he's you know, he has a Skyline, you know, he has the more hot cars to be flashy and drifting, right? But he's not really up there because his style of his driving is just kind of, I would say, a little beyond his own driving style. So he was not being consistent on his driving style. He'll have like random spin outs and a lot.
me, my thing was always go to the track, have no spin out. That was my mindset. Don't spin out at all. Just have a clean run and keep it clean always, 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 always. And I said, if you can always keep yourself from spinning out on a whole day, then you know you're consistent.
Right.
So that was always my thing. And if you keep your mindset like, just try not to spin out. When you know you're about to spin out, then you gotta like figure out your way to like limitate yourself to like control it to where you don't. So yeah, and that was my thing.
Definitely helps when your car is consistent itself and you're using the same things. You're making sure everything's tightened correctly and suspension's the way it is. Like, I wish I had that moment with the 240, but it got. At least I kind of had that with IQ for the autocross. I know how to move that car, and it shows with when I'm driving on the road. It's like dodging all the potholes and
Yeah, especially when you have a consistent car. And honestly, the Z to me is like a cheater car. The 350Z is like the most reliable car I've ever gotten into. Like, as terms of like beating on it and just balanced. I really put that car to where you can just drive it with one hand and it's just flawlessly
And you
simple.
fit in that decently?
Oh, really?
Because of the racing seat? Like you need to get lower?
The racing seat made it low, but it was also pretty high. It was like it was like the perfect seat. Like I can see over the hood, I can see my level, I can see everything here, and I can see everything here, and I'm not cramped. But I was pretty low in there, but it was like perfect low. Yeah, I liked it. The Z was good for tall people.
Yeah, because we're both tall. How tall are you?
I'm 6'.
I'm 6'3", and I feel like whenever I got in the Z to move it at Nissan, it's like I can't drive this. I can't fit in this. I can barely move and get something from the back.
Yeah. So like the stock seats like standardly they're pretty high. I would say an older Z, those can actually drop really low. So they have adjustments to make it low on the seat bottom. So yeah, if you have it all seated low on there, and then the steering column can drop super low too. So that's always been a good thing too.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking about for the IQs. I'm gonna get a racing seat to get a little bit lower and get a little more, like, you know, get my snug fit so I'm not moving around and all that. Yeah, but again, I'm not gonna do anything until that racetrack opens. Then I'll consider buying more parts for racing. But for now, I just want to make sure it looks good. I want to get it painted.
I'm still working to try and get the Skyline I want. And once I get a Skyline, then I'm gonna feel set. I'm really just trying to get a coupe right now.
So we just have a Supra drive in front of us. You're not much of anything else. You would rather keep a Nissan?
I mean, I love all cars, right? I love Supras, but then I'm just kind of like that purist type of guy.
You're talking about how it's kind of a mix of brands?
Like, yeah, I don't like having mix of everything, right? Like, especially like, say example, like shoes, right? People are like, oh, I like this shoe, I like that shoe, I like this shoe, I like that shoe. I love all shoes, right? But I'm kind of that guy that just likes to stick to one brand. So I try to choose the brand I like, and I'll just try to stick with that brand. Because then if I have too much other things I'm into, you just kind of can't keep up anymore.
That's the thing I have with my hobbies. It's like I had airsoft, I have racing.
Feel it like moving the window.
My whole window,
Yeah.
So I had airsoft, volleyball, cars, racing, gaming. This other thing is it was too much for me to consistently be on one thing.
Yeah.
My mind would go off to something else. It would go off to another project. In terms of my style and myself as a person, like I'm always changing. So I'm waiting for that time where I'm
it's my old wheels. My Inky 92s or RPF ones.
That's what I was thinking for the IQ.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to figure out.
They came off of the Maizy, and then it went to Angelo, and then Angelo sold it to AG. It's nice.
Were those the ones I was supposed to get? No, not Angelo. I think it was from Vince. From what he had that I was supposed to buy.
Yeah.
From 240. But yeah, it's consistency's tough to do when life isn't consistent, and then racetrack isn't consistent. That's what's great, or that's what sucks kind of about Guam. It's small, and the amount of people doesn't allow the market to really grow and be consistent. Like you can have some restaurants here and there and then close and then open, but then in terms of fun things
Oh
to do,
yeah,
it's
dude.
hard-
They
it's hard.
closed so much things on island right now that I don't even know. Like, dude, they closed like Chuck E. Cheese, right? Even Chuck E. Cheese was like sucked, but still,
It was a thing. Growing up, there was you had GameWorks, Underwater
Dude,
World, which is still there, but
GameWorks.
they renamed
Yeah,
and
GameWorks was the shit. I remember growing up and just going there because like it was like you could pay like $50 for the whole day and get that card and just enjoy it.
That was like the greatest place to go for Guam for me as a kid.
Same here, yeah.
And then apparently there's a lot of car stuff that was going on. I just never knew because no one really took me. But I do have a photo of me in those little kids that they drive the electric cars.
Oh yeah.
I have a photo of me driving like a Suzuki thing, like a truck or Jeep, and then there's a race of the kids that we do an engine, the car show. It's like we have the kids racing these little electric cars and they race it. Like, but besides that, my parents and family never took me to these big car shows. And I only learned it until really after I graduated high school, because one of our airsoft boys was into the car scene, and then they invited us to the car show one time, and then that's when I met my MTX boys.
Yeah.
That's how I first saw them, and then got to know people through that with work, and then can talk about that another time, fully on that backstory. But
it is crazy hot. Just me and Rich still chilling in here. We're in the back seat. I didn't know that these things can actually recline.
Yeah, be comfortable. Yakuza car.
Yeah. I'm just sending to daughter. PI. So.
Yeah. So, you're a great relationship with your kids in the PI.
Oh yeah, super.
You're a good
super
stepdad.
Good. Yeah, I feel like I'm a good stepdad. Yeah, I mean they were actually more interested in knowing who I was than me knowing them in the beginning. Like in the beginning, like they wanted to know me, and they only just seen pictures of me, and it's just funny how the kids would say like, oh, he looks very respectful, oh, he looks very handsome and very chill. So when I met them, and they were young, like 5 years old.
You need their approval.
Yeah, and I needed their approval, but they're the ones that wanted like, oh, you're cute, you're handsome. This is from the girls, of course. And the boy too, he was just like, oh, you're a nice guy and very cute. And they're only like, at the time they was 5, 6, 5 and 4 and 3, 2 years old. And I was just like, oh. So yeah, it was just like it was very welcoming, and I was the one that was more scared, and they were just like playing with my hair and asking for hugs, and kissing me on my cheek. And
I think a lot of that must have been your wife kind of hyping
me up, right? Yeah,
if she's like talking about you that way, and that's how they see how she looks when she's talking to you. That must go on to them, and they're like, oh, this guy's actually, mom really likes him.
Yeah, so that's what I wondered too, because I came across there. I was like asking her, and I was like, yo, so how come the kids like really like me, blah blah blah. But then the kids actually messaged me when me and her are talking, and she wasn't with the kids at the time, so the kids were messaging me on the side and like, do you really like my mom, like that. It's all in Tagalog too, and I'm just like, yeah, of course I really like your mom. Cute. And and I want to get to know you guys more, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I want to get to know you too. And I guess it's also because their dad wasn't like there much in their picture. Like the kids might be staying where the dad was at, but he wasn't like in the picture. So like it was more of like, if the kids are home, he'll like go with his friends and stuff like that. And I understand why my other half, like, they separated, because that guy was also dating his like ex-girlfriend right before my wife. So and then they kind of, once he met my wife, or his girlfriend at the time, they ended up like going back. He went back to his ex while they already had like 2 kids.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow. And then I was just like, I'm sorry.
You're just excited for someone to really be a father figure, and hang out with them. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if it's more like it's half big brother, half stepdad kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because they want that fatherly figure in their life.
Yeah, because they see me as like the father figure of it. Like I try to take care of them as the best I can. You know, I'm not trying to say it's like, oh, because I give them money or whatever. But even when I'm with them, like I play with them, you know, and they're like, oh, I don't get this with my dad. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, like it hits me hard. Like I don't know what to say.
It's like you're trying to have fun, but you get a little depressed at the same time.
Yeah. And, you know, even when we're like leaving the Philippines, like they start crying and, you know, like that gets me hard. Like they don't cry like all like that. They're like very mature and they're just like, you know, I had a really fun time and I can't believe you're like my dad and takes care. No, I'm kidding. So it's like you take care of me. You always wonder how I'm doing. Do I need anything and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, I wish your dad did the same, but
yeah.
Sorry, he's not that father figure. He still hasn't grown up yet.
Yeah.
And you know, like I always tell too, even to my wife, like I wish I met you earlier because then maybe these kids are just actually our kids, and then you know it would have been a lot better. Because I feel like I've wasted my time with my ex-girlfriend. Like I was like, dude, I put a whole 11 years, and I thought we were gonna get married. And that was like the perfect time because we're like right after high school.
Yeah.
Hit like 21. And I was like, so what are we doing? Oh, we're just enjoying life still. Okay. 25. So what are we doing? Yeah, just keep enjoying life. And I was like, okay, so if we hit 30 and we're still just trying to enjoy life, we haven't settled down, what the fuck are we even
like
doing?
how it's a stereotypical thing but reversed with
Yeah.
like the genders. It's like you were wanting to be like, are we good? We're gonna be like a thing? Like, we got kids? Because that's how I was recently after my so last 2 years ago there was a relationship, and I've only had one relationship, and you're the one that set us up in person. You tricked us into dating each other.
Oh, Cynthia.
Yeah, Cynthia.
Yeah,
you told both of us separately that the other one of us liked each other, and then so we started texting, and then we found out that right away, pretty much. We found out that you lied to both of us.
Yeah.
But we still tried it out. We chilled and stuff like that. That one was fine. It's the one that, like, my next relationship that ended up being online. And that was like, that's the one when we ended it, kind of put me down. Like, it broke me in terms of trust and thinking you know somebody. Yeah. And like all this time you spent, now it's like, who is this person kind of thing. And then after that, I started doing like research on the types of people that she was. Like, she would tell me like she was like bipolar or something like that, or something, one of those versions.
I remember you telling me.
So me looking into that and then trying to basically help me feel like I wasn't my fault. Like that's what I wanted. Like why did this happen? Was it my fault? Was it like whose fault is it? I don't know what stage of grief I was in at that time, but that made me really like just gutted down. I was like, damn. And then it got to the point where I started listening to podcasts and videos and just getting back into my younger days to make me feel better. Yeah. And then it really hit me. It's like, I'm getting to an age and time in my life that I should be really thinking, where do I want to be? Who do I want to live with? What kind of father, if I do want to be a father, be? And, you know, how consistent I want to be with everything. So the next relationships were really, after that, trying to find a more stable and sane person to do things with and start a life, and you know, not just fool around with. It's like, I want to actually start a future with somebody now, and then eventually start kids and all that when we're ready. And even now, I have people telling me it's not about money, it's not about financial, because you've seen people and you've known people raise with kids that they're not rich, they're not financially stable, but they've raised a kid still. It's like, I guess that's technically right. Like, I don't need to have a lot of money to raise kids. But in terms of getting things solid with the relationship, like what are we agreeing on? What are we disagreeing on? How are we raising a family? How are we raising kids? Who are we going to be? Where are we going to live? Yeah. Like, at least have that mindset. So it's like, okay, I see this person as a wife material. You better see yourself as a husband material and a father material. Yeah. That's what's first, but then, you know, making sure the relationship is good.
Yeah, even for me, like even with my wife, I wasn't so sure in the beginning, like if we were gonna be something. I was kind of like, So I'm just letting you know I'm broke. So I don't know if you were expecting any money out of me or whatever, you know, because it's like the stereotype, right? Girl in a different country, I'm American, this and that. And she's like, I don't even want you in the beginning, you know, like she didn't want me. Like I went up to her and I was like, yo, what up, girl? And then she was just like, no, you're just some foreigner that's just trying to get into my pants. And then I was like, no. And then I met her again in a different time. And then we're just like, hey. And then this time we were like, hey, let's go hang out. And we started hanging out. We got to know each other. And, you know, things went off from there. We started kicking back. And then, of course, we're adults. Things happen.
Where did you meet?
Well,
What kind of place?
So we met in the Philippines at the racetrack.
Okay.
So at Clark International. Then later on, I saw her again at, because she was working in Laguna, which is like way out from Pampanga. And there she was with some friends, and then they were just there for like, there's like, how do you say this, like promotional. She worked for Takata airbags.
Okay, yeah.
So they were doing like the sewing. But her and like a few other girls were like, you know, they're pretty girls, right? So she was like a real pretty, you look modeled and everything. So she was like a model representative there. And then I met her again at Jollibee. And later on, I saw her again at a bar with her friends. And then it just came.
Like, hey, we're pretty much
seeing each other, right?
We're practically going on dates without planning it. Like,
yeah. So from there, we're just like, okay, and I just told her straight out, like, hey, I just got out of a relationship. I'm just here to have fun first. And she was like, okay, well, I just got out of a relationship. And, you know, he was like an abusive guy and this and that. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. We just talked a little more and then became, you know, cool. And then it became from there. I was like, you know what?
Becoming friends.
I had so much fun. I'm going to come back next week. And she's like, whatever. This is probably the last time I see you. I came back. I bought a ticket. And it was like $300 still when tickets were cheap. Came back the next week because I just got paid. Came back the following week for another 5 days. Stayed out there. And she just freaked out. And then, you know, it became like a month-to-month thing. Yeah. So I had like competition like every month. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try and keep this up. See how this is going. And then later on, I think like 4 or 5 months in, we were really serious. And then, you know, I told her, like, I don't care about what people say. I'm just ready to move on and just have, if you're really stable or if you're really like mentally stable and you want this to be legit, I'm mentally stable and I want this to be legit too. Like, I came out of an 11-year relationship. I know you just got out of a 4-year relationship and you're just trying things out and meeting guys and whatever, and not really trying, but whatever. And then from there, yeah. So at the time, I was balancing out girls though. So that was kind of awkward. Like I was just single. So I was meeting girls left and right and talking and dating. And then when me and her started, I was just not so sure. And she's like, if you're serious, then if you're talking to anybody, you might as well cut them out because I don't want to be a part of this. Other girls were just like, it's okay. You know, we're just friends, right? And I was like, oh. I started seeing those other girls with guys.
Right.
And then I was just like, okay, take them all out. And then it became my wife. I didn't see her with anybody. She wasn't talking to anyone. She was being serious. And I was like, oh, maybe this girl's real. So from there, it is what it is now. And it's good.
Yeah, I've experienced that just recently with my current girlfriend. It's I've had my girls. I was like seeing people, dating apps, and seeing past situationships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then when I went to visit my friend in Hawaii for his wedding, I had this where, you know, I saw this girl at a wedding. She didn't know I was single because I was always with my friends that were all girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then saw her at a bar, talked to her, got her Instagram or whatever, and then I messaged her when I got back to the hotel that apparently, you know, other people could have stayed that, but it was just gonna be me. So I was like, no, let me just hit this girl up, see if she's actually wanted to hang out. So she has said, yeah, sure. We went to the beach first to hang out and talk. Anyways, after our night, you know, it was fun, but it's kind of empty. Like, you don't have that after fun. You don't have that cuddling and where you genuinely like somebody. Like that was fun, but then you don't care for them after. Not that I didn't care about her, but it's like I don't see her as my future. I don't genuinely care what she's doing in her life and how she feels and her health and all that. So when I got back to Guam, it was kind of in that still I don't know what you call it, bachelor era, or there's a worse term for it, but let's just say my bachelor era. And then I was seeing girls, and I only saw a girl one at a time. I would never go back and forth because I didn't think that was, at least that one, I wanted to say genuine. And especially if anything happened health wise, like we know what happened and who's what.
Yeah.
And we're both on those terms, so that was good. Always communication's great. But when it got to the point where I started talking to the current girlfriend, she at first, it was supposed to be a double date with our mutual friend.
Yeah.
She either forgot or it never happened. And then I see the mutual friend again at a club, and I was like, hey, what happened to that girl? And she's like, oh, are you still interested? I'm like, I've been waiting this whole time. What are you guys talking about? So she's like, okay, I'll let her know. So she let my girlfriend know again at the time, my girlfriend. But then my girlfriend told me afterwards, she was like, yeah, I don't make the first move. And I was like, all right, well, this would never happen because, if you were not going to make the first move, I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because what happened was I messaged the mutual friend again. I was like, let me just give me her Instagram.
Yeah.
And then she gave it to me on my birthday. And then I messaged her, and then she was, definitely open to it. And then we met that, weekend. And ever since we've been dating. And I think after 3 weeks or so, we made it official at a wine tasting. And then, so we've been pretty serious since then.
That's good. Like that's good that you found someone that's like into you, because finding someone that's into somebody is not an easy task sometimes. Sometimes people are just into you for the wrong reasons. They're not into you. They're into what's around you or what you're doing. Because even like I said, with my wife, I didn't know if she was into me or thinking I got money, but I told her straight, I'm broke.
Well, thing is, we don't know. We even talked about it. We're not even each other's types, like in terms of looks, like. And then, but it's our conversations and how she is mature and her plans and goals in life. And I was like, dang, this girl is a wife material. Yeah. And she is still attractive. And it's not just wasn't just my regular types. Like I was always seeing and stuff, or consistently liking stuff. So. Yeah.
Well, the same thing. Like for me, my wife was my type, and then for me to her, I wasn't necessarily her type. So she wasn't really like into like darker dudes. But then when she saw that I wasn't as dark.
That's a Filipino thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
They like the light skin.
It just depends. More. Some Filipino girls that are like, they're okay if you're dark. Some of them really just like black guys. But there's a good amount that just want some like mestizo, light complected skin guys and whatnot. But there's also a big amount that just like dark skinned guys. But yeah, for her, she wasn't really like thinking of ever being into a relationship with a dark guy. But her ex-baby daddies they're kind of dark, so they're Ilocano. So me being like light skinned, but when she tripped out that I was actually like part Filipino, and she's like, oh, I can actually speak Tagalog, and this guy will understand me, and he can talk back to me if he needs to. I just don't do it as often because I hate being tongue-tied. It's like one of my like little pet peeves. I hate being tongue-tied, so I kind of like get mad at myself. So even when I speak Tagalog, it's like very slow, or not slow, but like
methodical.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's pretty much what it is. Where we're at now, we have a child, and she's just hit 4 months on the 9th, and she's growing tall. It's getting quick. She's very chill. Yeah, it's pretty much where we're at now. So, and for the future, just trying to see what's gonna go on. I'm at this point where I just kind of want to try something different in life.
Right. Yeah. And we're talk to this in person, but we can keep it general. But what were you think you would live in? Like, if not Guam, what do you think? Because you're a big car guy and car scene, and you're a big Nissan guy, so I would assume, like, where, like, Japan or...
Yeah, so Philippines was a thing. Like, I was really about to just go and move out there. When I was single, I was already about to, like, try and move out there. My mom wouldn't let me. She was like, I don't care if you're Filipino. I'm not trying to give you your permission for your dual citizen so you can, be there and just stuck there and whatever. And then my mom just, me being her only son, she doesn't want me to leave.
Right.
So now but Japan though, when I went to like I said, like with Okinawa or even mainland, of course, everybody that goes to Japan, I always tell them, so you want to live there, right? And they're just like, hell yeah, man, it's so cool, blah, 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 just different, culture shock. And I was like, yeah, everybody feels that. For me, is like, you know, I'm destined to try and push to work there in a way, which I should have done a long time ago. But I just never thought of it that way until now, where people were like, yeah, dude, apply here. Apply at this. You said you liked aircraft, right? And you wanted to work on it. And I was like, yeah. So they offered it. That would be my thing. Also, aircraft, yeah. I've been into it since I was young. Even also like Brian, the new sales manager, or the sales manager of Nissan, was asking me.
Taking flight schools and right?
Mm-hmm.
He's taking flight lessons and
he's doing planes and stuff. But he asked me, he's like, what was your like dream stuff? And I told him, you'll crack up, but it's really true. So I told him I wanted to be an astronaut. My dad used to get me into those things so much. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to work on aircraft. And also automotive technician was my one thing I wanted to do. Firefighter and then architect. So I always wanted to be an architect because I'm very good in geometry, right?
Yeah.
So
same with me. I had thought about that as one of my jobs.
Yeah. So I mean, that was my thing. Like I love puzzles, so I love measuring. I love fabricating. So that's why you always see me fabricate stuff in the shop, or even with me working on cars. I'll be like, oh, you can get it through this and this, the way this is measured, and that will fit perfectly.
That's something, that you kind of showed it to me before, and like I learned through other videos. Like you can, like if you can just do whatever to a car. Yeah. Like you don't have to keep it to what the manufacturers wanted or buying parts. It's like literally just weld this piece of metal to this metal, and that works, and this fixes that. And it's like there's no rules. There's rules for like the road in terms of government stuff, but in terms of like the car itself, just do what you want. Mess around with it. Learn something. Kind
of like how the pulley. Remember the pulley on your alternator? It was meant for an OEM, but your alternator wasn't an OEM. So my assumption was like, oh, he wants to fit an OEM pulley to another OEM alternator. What? And then, I looked at it and I was like, oh no, it's the other way. He wants to fit it to the aftermarket. Right. So, I was like, okay, I measured it out and I measured the inner part of it, and I was like, I think we can make this work on top of this other one, even knowing that there was no listing of history of anyone doing it ever. Yeah, and I had to like measure the distance of the alternator to the pulley and all that kind of stuff, and then we made it work, and so far it's been okay,
great,
right?
Yeah. Everything's good.
It's cool. Things like that is what I like. I love doing. So
taking things apart, putting them back together, or making it better. Yeah, like that's what I like about this stuff.
Yeah, so that's always been my thing too. Trying to do things. So aircraft was always something I wanted to do. I want to try and get into it. I know it's going to be hard. I don't expect it to be easy. But
are you trying to be a mechanic or also fly?
I'm trying to be a mechanic. Okay. I'm also trying to fly also. Always wanted to be a pilot, so that was kind of my thing. I was going to join the military just to go and try and be a pilot. But I don't know of that right now. So of my day and age, I don't see that actually working right away. So like I've flown the plane. I flew a few times, but like on my own is the one I want. Like not like on my own with a co-pilot. I want to be like, I got the freedom to fly. Yeah. Cert, and I'm just gonna go and take my plane, my own personal plane, and I'm gonna go to Saipan because I can. Like that. Those are like that's one big achievement goal for me that I would want to do.
Get your own plane that you can put your drift car in the back and then
fly it over, and then I'll just park it at the airport and come back, and it's all good to go, and fly back out. That'd be sick.
It's like you're a mechanic and you're working on like plane. I was like, oh shit, I don't have a part for this. Go to your car, take it off, and like, oh yeah, it fits.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I see you being.
If I ever knew a plane, if I can ever land like a cargo plane that can hold up to one car with tools and everything and hold up to a weight limit of 10,000 pounds, hell yeah, I'll do that.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, just imagine that, like taking out a whole. Let's just say you bought like a little smaller, simple commercial plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holds up to 100 passengers with like 200 luggages, because usually people have like 2, right? And then plus check-in or your hand carry. So you would assume that's already like what 20,000 pounds or even about like 4 or 5 tons. Yeah, so if that can hold up that, and now imagine you removed all the seats and all that stuff, and you just use it to park a car, that would be a lot better.
That'd be pretty cool. Especially having a drift competition at the airport. So it just comes in, comes in, drops the car out, drives it out. Same time the plane's coming out.
Yep.
Drifts it to the side. That'd be pretty sick.
That would.
Well, one step at a time. With me too. I have those thoughts right now. I'm talking to my girl about the future. Going to Okinawa is not bad, especially after we're done, or she's done with her schooling and she gets into her job. She might be able to travel and work anywhere, same as me. That's what I'm going through with my family right now, is seeing what we can do with the Okinawa houses with the Okinawa family, because it's a whole thing with that. But that happens, and then if we ever see you there, then I would love to do stuff out there with cars.
That's the goal. Like I mean, I have like a good amount of friends out there. I have a good amount of friends out there that were just like, yeah, man, come out here. We'll help you out. We'll find you a place you can stay and this and that. And I'm like, really? They're just like, hell yeah. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, don't tempt me, dude. I really might try it out. And then they're just like, oh, I'm tempting you. I'm wanting you to try it out. And I'm like,
how's your Japanese?
My Japanese is poor now. I have not really spoken it in years, so memory is junk as well. So I'm trying to rebuild all of that again. Like even when I go to Japan, I think the most I've ever spoke Japanese again was we went last year, 2023 for TAS, and then I did an order at McDonald's for Novell and Journey, and I ordered what they wanted, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I kind of got through it and remembered it, and then they understood it. So I was like, whew, that took a while. But it stressed me out. Like my whole throat was like scorched already. And I was like, oh man, can't remember all these things. Especially having to pick up the accent again and try and do it. Especially me doing Filipinos, same thing. But it's just the tongue tying of words and memorizing everything is the one that gets pretty hard.
That would be something, especially if you lived in Japan for a couple of years and then you come back to Guam to visit. You're just speaking Japanese or just Japanese dialect. Like, whoa.
Yeah, I have a friend David Sappy. So he's the one that's been like always pushing me and like join my team real quick and we'll represent together. And I was like kind of like whatever. I don't got anything to lose, whatever. Why not? So I joined up with him, and it's for like the Japan chapter is what we call it.
Right.
And he's like, hey man, if ever you need help, and come out here and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, it's really nice, dude. Okinawa is really like a Guam, just JDM feels.
Yep.
And I was just like, I think I might do this, dude. Try it out. He works already in like federal, and I was like, dude, I think I might want to try it out too. And while I'm still moving, why not? And everything, and of course it comes down to thoughts like, oh, is insurance gonna take care of me? Am I gonna be good? And all that stuff. But then he was like, dude, in Japan, like the healthcare is just so good, it's cheap. And I was like, really? He's like, dude, I just did an MRI and even so he's a foreigner. He's American.
Oh, okay.
So he's American, but speaks now Japanese. He's been there for 13 years. And I was like, dude, you've been there since I've been working at Nissan. He's like, yeah, and I've been here, and he's married now to a Japanese, so he speaks Japanese. And it's kind of like me being married to my wife. My Tagalog's like increased a lot better because we speak Tagalog at the house. Right. So, and her English too has gotten better since she's only been here for 3 years. So her English is there. She has like an accent, but it's like it's starting to clear out.
Right.
So, it's like, it just takes practice. We got to just keep doing it and whatever. And I met a lot of Japanese friends out there and Okinawan friends. Like, so they're just like, it was just very cool. So the vibes was very good. I would like to try out Japan and as far as working, it will still be working under US, but because that's the only best way. I think I can't do like a Japanese and I'll be like the most quietest guy at work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess we can sort of like talk about that and then get to the end of this session. How would you, let's say for Guam, someone wants to get into being a mechanic, like working for somebody, or let's say just being a mechanic in general.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for them? Is it start off on your own or try to work for a shop? Like,
I would say start off on your own. So me, like the way I started, right? Like I was watching my dad, right? But I never had my hands on a car yet. So when I got my own car, it was the only time that I actually got into a car or got into doing something. Like I got a 240 and then I just, from there getting a 240, I was just like, I heard there's this intake that you can put on. It was a little intake tube. And then from there, I did an intake tube. Then I did another thing, and then I just kept it going. So, I would say just doing it on your own and practicing, failing, because you need to fail in order to succeed. So, yeah, I've bought a header. I installed the header. I learned that I didn't seal the gasket right, so it was loose.
Yeah. It's like cooking. There's instruction. If you just follow instructions, it's there, and then eventually you can get to the point where like you're just not even measuring. You're just going based on your own feel, and you make your own decisions. Like, yeah, this could fit there, or no, probably not.
Yep.
You get to know based on your experience of, oh, this would go here, or this looks stock, this looks aftermarket. Like, yeah, and then in terms of tools, like Home Depot has everything, right? Just go, or if you can find it for cheap, or buy it, or get it from friends and stuff. But for me, if I just get a jack and the jack stands, I already have most of what you would want to just check out your car.
Exactly.
Just look at it and start off with that, and then eventually, you work for a shop, or what do you think? It's because at least you're getting paid for what you are trying to learn and get used to, right?
I wouldn't say working for a shop yet, because like I said, that a lot of that learning and that failing is not best for, especially when you're trying to get paid for it. Because once you start losing, you lose very bad. You get a reputation ruined, you ruin the shop don't want you. It kind of brings your morale down super bad. And
okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I would say it's a lot of you doing your practice and have it with friends. Do it with friends, building cars, putting things together.
Make it fun.
Yeah, make it fun.
Enjoy it, not make it stressful the whole time.
Yeah, and before you start wanting to get into a shop. And if you want to get into a shop, I would say maybe an independent shop would be better, because at least your reputation going down won't be so bad.
Yeah.
Unlike working at a dealership, you screw up in a dealership, it's like big time bad. So yeah, I would say starting on your own would be the best first before doing anything else.
Work on your own car, work on friends' cars.
Yeah. Try and build a car yourself, put it together, take it apart.
Watch plenty of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Check out Chris Fix.
That kind of things. Yeah, those things kind of make things good. Like before, we didn't even have any of that. So it was just taking apart a car and then like, oh, how we're going to put this back? Well, I took pictures, like things like that, just to know how to put it back. And there's always other ways around it without having to know and use other resources and bother people. Well, bothering people would be the best way. Just keep asking questions. I have a shitload of people that just ask me questions, like, exactly like you, right? Anytime you had a problem with a car, what was this? And I was never, I was very open on helping, regardless what I can do. I never did that before, but I'm pretty sure it's just like this, just like that. Yeah, check this site, check that site. And that's what I would have done too if I never knew.
Yeah.
So, if people can learn it that way from me saying that, I'm pretty sure anybody can, because that's just how I learned.
Yeah, just keep doing it. And then the more you do it, the more you're going to learn. If you stop, you might forget. Taking a big break on something, you're gonna lose that information. Just like you talking in languages, like it's gonna be tough for the next time because you haven't been practicing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know we're gonna end it now, but I did remember something that you did talk to me before. You were thinking about like a restaurant cooking.
Yeah. So I mean, I cook every now and then. I do a lot of cooking actually, but I was in culinary arts for a year at college, and because my mom had a canteen before when we used to sell at the flea market, and I was cooking, my mom was cooking, and so I learned how to cook a lot, and I always try doing all these little chef things every now and then. But yeah, I always wanted to open a restaurant.
No wonder the girls were always trying to stay in contact with you and keep you on the...
trying to sweet them to their heart by cooking them food and giving them whatever.
Fixing their cars, cooking the...
Yeah, so, I got into that, and the wife cooks too. So, I was always like, hey, I wanted to open up a restaurant. The wife was thinking about it too, until she started working at our restaurant. And she was like, there's a lot of money lost and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, which is true because things expire.
Yeah.
So things go down quicker. It's a lot easier just opening up like a smoothie bar.
That's why you make those like promotions, like, for free.
Yeah.
Here's something for free. It's like marketing. So
to get rid of things and sell it itself. So yeah, that was that kind of thing. So she also thought about it and all that stuff. But there's a lot of, me and my wife always go back and forth to thinking like, we can sell this food, or we can sell that food, or we can open this, but we're just too broke.
Yeah, I like the idea that you pitched to me about it, and then how you vision the inside of a restaurant might be and what you have displayed. But
that time, when I told you, like, I was thinking about opening up a cafe shop, right?
Yeah.
That was I wanted to do like a Look Super Caf, which was like of my team, and it would be like memorabilia of my drifting career.
A car, like straight up a car on the wall. So that'd be that's like a long term thing, but that was like, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to do that, and I still kind of do see that vision to do that, because like I had a friend, or I still have a friend, Kenji Yamanaka. He's basically he was sponsored by Tomei Engineering, and so him and a buddy of his that was a D1 driver, they opened up it was called Rocket Bunny Caf. So he was also sponsored with Rocket Bunny and representing there, and they called it Rocket Bunny Caf. So it had like Rocket Bunny memorabilia and all that kind of stuff, and they were selling like steak, because steak's like a high thing in Yokohama. So, they opened that up, and they had a display of their D1 car that won some trophies, and then they had like engines and Otome parts for sale, and it was cool. And then like it had like you can sit down, there was just cars, and the vibe was real. Like you can eat steak and be like looking around and be like, wow, dude, that guy has like a newspaper of him, and you read this, and it was cool. Like I really like it.
Big TV, like playing old videos.
So it was there. It was playing like D1 old videos and FD videos of when he was in it. So I was like, man, I think about the same thing, but I never put it into actual form. And this is an actual form now. So I was like, cool. Then when in the Philippines, someone that's also a racer there, that was a circuit racer, opened up a burger restaurant, and which I thought about too. Doing like some burger, but their one was called Messy Burger. So burgers were all things that they were all, the story with it is they would cook from when they're at the track burgers, and then the burgers were just hitting off like, brother, you're gonna make the burgers again, and this and that. And he's like, oh, this is my mushroom blah blah blah, this is my spicy sriracha burgers. And then they're just like, you should open up a restaurant. And that's what had happened. And then like if you go into Messy Burger, it was like the tires that they've used, they made them into chairs.
Right.
And then I was like, holy cow, that's cool. The tables were big tires, and they just like had wood, and it was like marbled up and whatever. And I was like, this is cool. And all around had license plates and traveled areas. And then, so even for me, that's kind of what I wanted to do, is open up. But I thought about doing like a alignment and tire change and oil change, and strictly just stick to that with brakes, stick to that as a job, and then on the side would be the Look Super Calf, like all that kind of stuff.
Well, whether that's in Guam or if you open that up in Okinawa, who
Oh
knows,
yeah,
we'll see.
I mean I would.
But-
That would probably be a better thing. I mean, it's selling here wouldn't be probably the best. Not knowing how the culture here of cars is just so mixed.
It's mixed, but I mean, at least it's like it's a local thing, like it's
Yeah,
a local
yeah.
team. So I don't know how it'll do in Japan, but it's again the culture's a little bit. I don't know.
I think they would see it as it's cool if it was like Okinawa at least, not mainland
Especially if you made
Japan.
a name yourself in Okinawa, like, oh, this is the guy Von. Oh, you already have friends there, people
Mhm.
that probably
Yeah.
respect you already. So, if you open something up there, I'm sure they'll support it.
Yeah, if it
Guam
was like
people going into Okinawa and visit and
Mhm.
showing your love and everything.
Yeah, the whole Guam thing would have been, a lot different too. So it's like if just saying this is Guam, I'm a drifter from Guam, and I opened up a cafe, or like burger and cafe thing, then it would sell itself. It'll do good as long as my foods taste good and
Yeah.
people start coming and they'll just like the vibe of the sitting around and it'll show it to people.
I think all you need is a cheap, like not cheap, but affordable
Mhm.
and taste good. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Like that's all I care about going to a place. The ambiance is as well. It's like all car stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll go with that even more.
Yeah, just to chill and whatnot. So it's kind of like Infusion. You go to Infusion, is like they have like some good stuff to look around, and then like they're
chill.
they're chill. They have the nice view, like the one across Nissan and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like BJ Barbecue. I go to BJ Barbecue because their food's pretty affordable. The freaking burgers are
Tastes
delicious.
great.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to do that as a Look Super Calf thing because on Guam it would have been good. We're drifters and this is the team, and we had a banner. We have certain sponsors.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, those are all dreams. I think I would still try to open that someday. I just don't know how or when until I guess money sets in a little bit better. It doesn't have to be crazy amount, but
I think it's all about taking the first step.
yeah.
It's like whether it's going to like job changes or location changes or family or thinking about that cafe, is like just take those steps first and
Yeah.
then just keep it consistent. I'm telling myself too, it's like every week I have to do something towards one of my hobbies. Like I have too many goals. Each week has to be done something
Yeah.
that I feel fulfilled, and eventually it's going to get to that point where it's either reached or you're even thinking like, oh shoot, I have all this ready.
Yeah.
We can start doing this, or we can start opening up something, or we can start traveling.
Yep. And I've talked to a few business friends, and then the way they started is they just pulled out a big loan, and it wasn't like a crazy big loan. It was like $20,000. $20,000 personal loan, which sounds reasonable. If things failed, then okay, you failed, and all you got to do is pay it back.
Yeah.
But if you succeed, you paid off that personal loan faster, and you just keep owning it. Then you can start increasing things. You can probably pull out another loan to make your place even better, pay off that loan, and then make it even better after that. And
Probably have a consistent first job.
Yeah.
And then work on that second job that you're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, the investment doesn't work, you got that loan.
Yeah.
If you tried, at least you learned and you tried experience.
Exactly. So like, yeah, like most spots like these example, they like, okay, to rent our spot, it's you're gonna be a business fees here is gonna be $2,500. You're like, damn, for the month, and like, yeah, so you gotta make that $2,500 first to make sure you can make rent, and then try to make so much money back, and you got to do all your pre-orders of meat and bread and all that stuff, and all your renovation of the inside, and then open up and then try to make that. Then you got to know how much you got to make monthly, and it's got to be at least $10,000 monthly at least.
That's why I feel like these food trucks probably start off doing that. And
Yeah.
if it's profitable, then they can do these brick and mortar places. But same thing with the mobile detailing that Filth was at first. It was mobile detailing, and then they got to the point where they can get the warehouse. So
Yeah, it comes down to those wherever you find like a good deal and the way you promote yourself. I think if I did the whole Look Super Calf thing, I think it would have really popped off. I think so.
Oh, yeah.
It just looking for that good location with a good price, it would keep it going, and from there it would just get better from that.
we'll see. Maybe after some time in Japan, you can open it in Guam, and things will work out.
Yeah.
Same thing with this podcast. Like, I've been thinking about this for a while, and I want to talk to people and know their hobbies and get to know them better and their goals in life, and maybe it'll help me with my own goals and what I'm going to do with my life and figure stuff out. But in general, just nice. I like talking to people, and I like to get to know them, and why not make it a podcast? Why not share with people that can also hear what you have to say, and they take that and they apply it to their life. All these young kids that want to get into cars and maybe even thinking about what we talked about, Japan, relationships, businesses, having fun at these meets and learning how to drift and be a mechanic, all this stuff that we talked about. It's like I feel like getting to know somebody, and then maybe someone relates to them, relates to me, relates to you, other people I'm bringing in, and then push them to get things going when they're even younger. Because I'm doing this later in my life. I should have been doing this earlier, but I wasted my time playing video games and stuff that really wasn't goal-oriented. But, I still had fun. I'm glad I did it. It makes me who I am. It makes the friends that I have now. But at the same time, just think about these things and at least get yourself ready. And
so that's the goal.
And then by the next time we do a podcast, hopefully we can see what's done differently and what's changed. And
go from there.
Go from there. Thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Shoots.
Drive safe.
Do this again
next time.
Yes, sir. Bye.
これは一段とスピードが最初が入ってないな。これギリギリ入ってんのかな。